It is the technology show where we translate geek,
into regular speak.
and there's a voice I haven't had next to me for ages. Hello, Mr. Sternberg. How are you?
I am doing well. I am doing well. Thank you for asking. How about yourself?
All good, mate. It's been lonely for the last few months or so. I haven't had guests or co-hosts or anything, so it's really good to have you on the show. Um, Looking all nice and slick, and I'm loving the glasses. I really am. It's good to see that age finally caught up with your eyes as well.
Wait.
Um,
I do have to give a shout out to Dresden. I think that their product is great. Slightly technical, I suppose, but and Jeffrey Emerson, our good friend, for turning me on to them. So
are those Jeffrey glasses brands? Because he's got some weird and funky, like the white and the orange ones. And that is it the same
that's
brand?
that's it. That's it. Yeah.
I got it.
Mm.
Okay, there we go. Well, shout out, Jeff. So let's get into the show. I'm actually going to give you the honors of things with a Z today because, well, I have got a product, but I'm actually can't do anything with it yet because I'm under embargo. So we'll have you do the things with a Z. So what have we got with things with a Z? Um, these are called what? Ear fun. Am I right?
Ear fun.
Okay.
Yes,
Now, before
they're.
you kick off, I've just got to
Yeah.
tell for the listeners out there and for the people that are actually watching as well, you do not get a bigger headset, earphone, sound things that go on ears or around necks person than Aryeh Sternberg. I'm just going to put that out right now. I know that every time I talk about headsets, whatever, you're the first person to actually comment and go, dude, I need to get those, or how do they work, or will they do this and that? So I'm putting you on a pedestal here, mate. I hope the Earfun Air Pro 3s are what I'm hoping they are, coming from an in-ear audiophile like yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, as you know, and I think it was actually on another show, and a couple of shows, I've certainly done my fair share of reviews. We have gone through the over-ear Sony, I mean, the MX4s were the ones I reviewed, and
Yep.
they're touted as the best in class, going up against Bose, etc. Um, I think on my last showing, you certainly made it clear that my joining of the Apple fan club, and today we are going to be talking about the AirPods Gen 2,
Okay.
which arguably our good friend Roger Lawrence and many others would say that they are the hands down best active noise canceling headphones.
Mm. Not
The
this Apple
question.
fanboy, but yeah.
No, yeah, not yeah, nope, no. But I think what we need to be thinking about is that not everyone has the budget or the inclination to invest in Apple, and if you're not on the iPhone and Apple bandwagon, it may not be the best investment for you. And so, when we're thinking about um, earbuds in particular, there are so many constraints that put us in. But when you're looking at the sub $100 range, which is where these come in at, you really have to question, is it going to be a decent experience? And from all aspects, whether it's the quality of the audio, the sound, the bass, what it sounds like listening to music, the connectivity, dual device connectivity, and I think most notably the ANC with three different settings. An environment setting where you can listen to your environment, and it scientifically approximates through AI what you should be hearing, as opposed to just letting sound in. A normal setting, and then the full ANC, and then these can also
Can I stop
be.
you there for a second?
Yep,
So
yep, yep.
ANC noise cancelling. You say there's three different settings, and that's not something that I've really come across on headsets. A lot of the headsets that I've reviewed have got an app. You can change the equalizer, but you can't really tinker with the ANC. It's either ANC on, ANC off, or hear through. And that's kind of it. So are you saying you've got different ANCs based on environments that you are, or do they do different things?
I'd say the ANC normal is kind of like ANC off. But the normal, I suppose it would be just the earbuds in your ear blocking the sound. But there is a semblance of ANC
Okay.
going. But when you turn on the ANC, it's not, it's 90% what I got in the AirPods, which is saying a lot.
Okay. That is a
Um,
lot.
yeah, fit wise, great. There's one button on each side, and multiple touches of the button, which are programmable, will give you, stop, start, um, skip, answer a phone, turn on,
I
turn
can
off.
never remember those commands. I've got quite a few different headsets. I'm just looking at my desk now. There's 5 brands of headsets on my desk as we speak. But they all one is volume up is on the right and the other one is
Yep.
fast forward on the left. So I never remember. I just talk to the phone and tell it to do it for me.
Yeah, no, definitely. Um, You know, at the end of the day, we're looking for lightweight, ease of use. If you are a multi-device user, something that's easy to let you jump between devices, making sure that ANC is doing a good job. Battery life, which is incredible. Um, uh, Not MagSafe charging, but wow, my technology.
So they're not wireless charging, but they
They are wireless
obviously
charging. Yeah,
they are.
they
Okay,
are.
so what's a Q
They are.
QR? QR I think is the
Yep.
standard um, wireless protocol. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, MagSafe would only be for Apple, right? I don't think anyone else has adopted that technology.
Yep. And these guys aren't just a one-hit wonder. They have a wide range of earbuds. The Air Pro 3 are kind of their most recent ones, but pretty much all of them are on the sub $100 range. And I stumbled upon them, got a pair from my wife, and stole them from her and used them for a while, and was very happy with the sound quality. Each earbud has 3 mics in it, and I've been told that the call quality is better than the AirPods.
That's what I was going to ask you
Yeah,
because and for those that don't know you like I do, you're always on the phone, but equally you're always mobile. You're always running around somewhere or and the wind noise on earbuds is one thing that drives most people mad. Like you might not hear it as the wearer, but I know you're the person that actually says, by the way, I'm on this headset, how does it sound? So things like wind noise or external, drilling, cars, hooters, etc. Have you asked that question and had the feedback? I mean, how do they compare?
I have, and I've been told that the quality is only marginally better than the AirPods. But if you've ever spoken to someone on AirPods when they're in the wind, you just might as well give it up. If you're
Yeah.
recording audio, the only ones I've ever seen from a headset perspective that really do an incredible job of the noise isolation are these bad boys I'm wearing here, which are bone conduction. So if you're out and about, you're going to hear everything happening, which is a plus and a minus because you can't necessarily block out the sound if it's
Sound.
loud.
Yeah. Well,
But
you can walk around with your fingers in your ears as well, right?
well,
But now,
that if you put these in with the ANC on
yeah.
and this, then you kind. But that's kind of overkill, right?
Actually, you say that, but what a lot of people don't know or maybe haven't even recognized is in the gaming world, as in esports, most players wear 2 headsets. They've got a wired pair of buds that are inside their ears, and then they have the big noise canceling over. And the ones that are over are to actually block out the sound of the auditorium and that, but act as comms between the players. And then the ones on the inside are actually listening to the game. They're listening for the footsteps, they're listening for the little sound effects. So they use 2 headsets with different channels and different sounds at the same time. And they've got to process that. So it might not be overkill, but it might look a bit weird. But
Yeah.
so you've referenced AirPods and you've referenced earphone. Do you use the word AirPod killer in this one, or no?
I would I wouldn't say killer. I would say if you're an Android user, I would definitely recommend these. bang for the buck. I don't think you can do better right now. Jabber's been lowering some prices. I think the 85 Ts are now at like 150 quid or something like that. Um, but these, for all intents and purposes, I would put my stamp of approval on them. Although I do need to say that the nothings, which you how do I
The
get them?
nothings. Well, you've got your screen on, so we won't see. There we go.
There we
Well,
go.
they do almost look nothing.
Yeah, those are the O1s. The challenge I've had with those and the Beyond
I
Pro,
have to stop you for a second and give a shout
yeah,
out to Lo. Lo Fenter's giving a like on the video. Hello, Lo. Back to you with the nothings.
yeah, just the Bluetooth connectivity gets broken, and the same with the
Yeah.
Beyond Pros. They also get broken, and with these earphones, I've never had an issue with the Bluetooth 5.1. So, I, again, um, if you're out there and you don't want to drop over $300, this is where I'd send you.
So it's interesting. I'm all for finding, price points in tech to do what it needs to do. And one of the brands that I've done quite a lot of reviews with, and I have to say is becoming very close to my heart, is JLab. So I do a lot of Jabra reviews. The last few shows have actually been mainly Jabra reviews, and one of the 5 headsets that's sitting here on my desk, on my trusted 85H over years. But when you start talking about bang for buck, that was why I looked for other brands. And that's why it's good to see that you're talking about another brand as well. I mean, I'm not sponsored by anyone. I don't get paid by anyone, so I don't have to be loyal to anyone. But equally, I'm not going to recommend tech that I personally wouldn't use. But you're right. When you're looking at or contemplating 300 or 300 plus dollars for a pair of AirPods, there are other choices out there that are like 50% cheaper, but not 50% worse. The only thing though that I do caution people is, you might save 50% or 40%, 30%, whatever, but what is the long-term play? Because it's one thing to cop $140 now, but do you want to cop it again in a year? Because then it's 280. Whereas one of the bigger brands, and I don't own AirPods. I mean, it's probably the only Apple product I don't own and have no desire to own. But like with Jabra, for example, you get a 2-year warranty. And I've used the warranty before. I had a claim on a headset. It must have been about the 18-month mark. My one headset wasn't connecting for whatever reason. No questions asked, no issues, apology received, and a new headset given. You know what I mean? Now,
Totally.
I don't know Earfun. I don't know the distributor. I can tell you, even with nothing, that wouldn't happen. Once that 12 months is up, you're on your own. It's not going to happen. So, these are the things that you do need to be aware of. But equally, I'm also a big fan of buying a set of $30 headsets, because if you go down to the beach and you screw them up or you lose them, $30 right was a burger. So that's the thing. I mean, I've got different headsets that I use for different cases. Now that you're a glasses wearer, my J Labs that hang on my glasses. I can't do it now because it will connect to the Mac and then we'll lose sound. But there's definitely, and you mentioned bone conduction. So I think the message here, and this is why I love chatting to you about headsets, because I know you have every single type and pair and style and connectivity, but you've got to actually make the investment based on what you want to use it for. And I think that goes for all tech. Like, if you don't need
Yeah.
a massive processor, don't buy a Mac Pro. Like, you don't need it. So with the headsets, but I haven't come across this brand. So you're saying that there's other. Where did you get them? Did you bring these in from the States, or was it local, or where? How did you even find them?
I You can get them on Amazon. I actually ordered them directly from their website. Um,
Okay.
and you mentioned the warranty. I do need to give them a shout out. Someone lost the case
Oh,
when they were hanging out
so,
at Bondi Junction shopping mall,
yeah.
and I let them know and says, "Is there any way I can buy a replacement case?" They said no, um, but we'll hook you up and give you a 45% discount code. So that
Okay,
was
that's
to me
decent. Yeah,
pretty
that's
pretty
decent.
pretty pretty decent, and they responded quickly and came in. Um, you're right about the that price tag. If you're on that lower end of, and if you're not, if you're an audiophile, I won't mention it, but there's definitely other earphones that do better than this, and do better than the AirPods as well.
Well, it's funny you
Um,
mentioned that because I've now brought up
ooh,
Kristen Hirsch, your ghost slide. So this is my scale. I've come up with a scale. Um, Apparently, you didn't hear my baseline that I was looking for in these, so that tells me it doesn't go that low.
I was
Um,
listening through these, unfortunately.
then that's unfair. I can't throw earphone in the bus, right? So you're going to have to tag the show afterwards. But generally, over the ear, I've given very high scores on the Kristen Hirsch Your Ghost scale. In ear, I've had mixed reviews. I've had some headsets that it does pick up and others it doesn't. So okay, on the bone conductor, yes, you've got no chance. And in fact, on your you don't use a MacBook, on your PC, on your laptop, you won't hear it either. You will only hear it if the headset is designed to pick up these ranges. So please promise me you will jump onto the comment section after the show, and I've sent you the link for the Your Ghost song, but do it with the earphones. I'd love to know. Yeah, okay. So we can't do a Kristen Hirsch Your Ghost scale for the earphones yet, but we'll come back to it now. Just to give you a guide, Aryeh, because it's my scale. It's something I've just made up. I'm yet to have a pair of earbuds that make it past an 8. I don't think I've had a pair of in-ear earbuds make it past 8. Like I've been mid sevens even. And equally, I've never had a 10. So, I have had fives. I have gone as low as the 5. And bone conducting would be a 0, just to give you the scale. You will never, ever hear
Yeah.
the bass on bone conduction. It's not possible. Right. So on Amazon, fun. It sounds like there is a warranty and or good customer support in place, and that's important because that already then differentiates them from just, let's be honest, the millions of other TWSs, true wireless headsets that are out there at the $50 to $150 mark. But yeah, I'm not I'm a big fan for not having to necessarily buy the product because it's the most expensive. That means it's the best. But I do believe that someone needs to stand behind their product. So I wouldn't advocate otherwise. Awesome. Right. Well, let's move on to tech news. If that's the end of things with a Z, and for anyone that's listening to the show that's fairly new, when I say new, like mm, mm, within 2-3 years. The whole thing with the Z is actually from the days when Aria and I started the show, because Americans talk about Z and not Z.
The
So yes, I do know how to spell. Tech news is spelt with a Z because it's a Z, and it's very apt that Aria's back on the show. So tech news, what have we got? All right. Now, I had to put this up there because you and I actually haven't even chatted about this. I'm talking about even off air.
Nope.
We both love, or loved, in my case, maybe Twitter. I don't know, man. Elon's debauchery of the platform. What are your views? And if you have to plead the fifth, you're American, you're allowed to. But yeah, I'm disappointed, man.
No, not at all. You know what? Why is he doing what he's doing, right? There's questions of whether or not it's trying to.
Well, it's
Um,
because marijuana is legal in the most states in America. Maybe I don't know.
there's that. There's so much to be said about um, buying a database.
Yeah,
And so there's the value of what he has. There's the rumors that he was trying to do a WeChat or an Alibaba kind of play, an Alipay, and do a super app with it. The pay for um, pay for posterity, or whatever you want to call it. It's not working the way it's meant to, as far as we can see. But I'm wondering behind the scenes if it's cleaning up the quality of the content, and removing bots and
that's
removing
yeah.
the bogus. That's what I look at. Everything else, I mean, it is kind of painful, the user experience, and you know people saying, I didn't say I was going to pay, and now you're saying I have a paid account. Like, yeah, that's pretty bogus.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was still, I'm going to use the word a journo because I was a lot more actively involved in the media space in general. I both wrote and had a radio show in South Africa. I never got my blue tick, and the reason why I never got my blue tick is that um, I wasn't like it wasn't the Brett Levy show, or it wasn't my article. I was a contributor writer to one of the men's magazines, not those type of men's magazines, Jeffrey. The normal technology section, like a GQ or Men's Health or whatever. And then I was just a featured show within a channel, right? So and I did apply, I won't lie. I applied actually on numerous occasions to get my blue tick. It was something that we aspired for. You tell me for $9 a month I can buy it. Well, Elon sucks.
Yeah.
Someone, yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what you can do with your blue tick, mate. And then he's double backed, right? If you've got more than 1 million followers or subscribers, then he'll give you your blue tick. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
that does it for someone that's such a genius. He hasn't got a clue. Like he doesn't know what he's doing. Anyway, he's a
What
billionaire. I'm not. One of us is doing something right.
what else besides Twitter has the same delivers the same experience other than Truth Social?
What
In terms
confusion?
of
You mean? Well,
just strictly a news delivery device, right?
yeah,
I mean,
and
it's
that's
not
what you and I
TikTok or
loved about it,
Instagram or
though. You could pick it
yeah,
up, you could get the news. Now you've got to kind of sift through, and then his stupid tweets are all over the place as well, and they
yeah.
really are random. Like I don't know, it's like a kid with a new toy. Hopefully, it wears off. What's more interesting though is what Jack Dorsey's doing with Blue Wave or Hello Blue or something like that. He's come out, which I kind of thought he would do it. Like you've just been paid a fortune, and now you just go and replicate the whole system. And I'm surprised that he didn't have an anti-compete or something like that labeled against him. But you mentioned Truth. That's Donald Dump's network. I mean, that didn't work either, right? He was hemorrhaging cash on that. It just became the Donald Dump Republican soapbox platform thing. I don't know. I just felt that in the days before we had this proliferation of TikTok and Snap and Insta, you had Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Facebook was where people shared pictures of their kids and breakfast. Instagram was where people pretended to be artists. And Twitter is where you got truth and news. That was kind of like it was easy. And obviously, LinkedIn, which is still my favorite platform, is where you did business. That was it. Now you've got this bombardment of different networks, and everyone's trying to do the same thing that everyone else is doing, and everyone's calling out everyone else. So I don't know. I could sit on this all day long, but do you actually still use Twitter? Do you go on and post? And
I don't. I used to use it extensively.
I know that's what I'm asking you. Yeah,
I I got kicked off one day for doing nothing, and I was just like
okay,
I
that's a
tried to get
different
back
reason.
on once, and I was like no, and then for whatever reason, probably about a month or two ago, they reinstated me, and I just can't be bothered, to be
No,
honest.
I mean, I obviously share. I mean, the show gets tagged and shared on Twitter, but I can't tell you the last time I actually picked up and went down the rabbit hole, and scrolled and found content. And
No,
anyway, it is what it is. I don't like to be proved wrong, but I'm happy for him to prove me wrong. That he's already got a plan in place, and I'm wrong, and I'll say I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll get on air and say, "Hey, remember that show on the 10th of May where I kind of really put it out there that he's wrong? Well, I was wrong, but yeah, we'll see. Anyway, now there wouldn't be a show where you and I are on the same place, or there wouldn't be a meeting either, or coffee meeting or whatever, where VR or AR or mixed reality or didn't come up into the discussion. So I'm going to be damned if today was any different. So yeah, you found this little article. Hopefully my pictures show you that I try to do some research before the show, but there we go.
yeah, I think that the question about immersion and about this whole experience, we've kind of lost the plot as far as the metaverse is concerned because
Yeah.
Meta kind of
And you,
screwed
sorry,
it up
just
for
to jump in
everybody.
a second for people that listen to the show. So I've got a picture of a VR headset up with like a smell device, right? We're talking about smelling in VR, not how you smell on a body odor point of view. We're talking about pleasant smells being introduced into VR. Right. Go for it, bud. Sorry.
That's it. That's it. So we've reviewed different haptic devices, where you can feel a vibration of some sort, or even an electric shock where
Yeah,
gives
yeah,
you
yeah.
low level pulses to your muscles. You've got obviously sound, which is coming through and what you can see. And this is a yet another attempt to bring in the olfactory experience, which is smells. And so you've either got a capsule that delivers a single smell, or capsules that deliver up to 9 different smells, um, into, basically blowing it from a fan into your nose. Uh, you know, Way back in the day, there was smell-o-vision. Where you actually had smells being
I
pushed into
remember
your
that
into your
way back
house,
in the day.
way back. And I think it's another one of these ones where the hardware experience is yes, it's definitely making progress, but it's so far from where it needs to be. And why would you try to produce an expensive and cumbersome and clunky experience like this when you could probably tap into the nervous system and actually trigger
That's interesting. Yeah.
smells? And I'd rather go that route, and with different light and sound to actually trigger a smell. Or yeah.
I think where smell's important, right? I mean, I don't know the last time you were back in the States, but if you walk into any major shopping mall in America, you can tell if there's an Abercrombie and Fitch store in that center by smell. They have this thing that just pumps out this very unique smell. And I must tell you, it's actually a very pleasant smell. And then they've now bottled it into fragrance, and I've even bought the fragrance, over the years. But you can actually smell if there's an Abercrombie Fitch, which for those of you that don't know what that is, I'd be surprised. It's a clothing brand, but you can smell that there's an Abercrombie and Fitch inside that mall. Now that is powerful. The other thing as well, there was technology that was brought out many years ago that melted these like wax capsules to give odors, and a lot of these like Zen places using that. But they came out with a coffee one because they realized that if you were in a boardroom and you could smell that coffee shop smell, your defenses went down because coffee
Mm.
shops are synonymous of social, fun, relaxed environments. So you were triggering the brain, and that's why you're saying if you could tap into the neuro side of it, as opposed to coming in through the nasal side of it, and having to wear clunky stuff. And let's be honest, I don't know if I want a thing that close to my nose every now and then squirting gas, or emitting like if the capsule's strong, it's going to be terrible. But I do see the space for it, like to give you that experience. I see it. I just
Definitely.
yeah
I would, and I recall we've had the conversation of, that distinct aroma of Subway sandwiches, which is supposedly attributed to the bread, but you
yeah
never know. But you definitely know when there's a Subway around the corner,
yeah.
and you're walking by it. And I would be imagining, like anything in VR, what happens when you get hacked. I mean, you could really cause some trouble there.
Start of the chemical imbalances, start some fart smell gases going. Um, staying obviously with VR, but maybe more MR. For those that aren't watching, I've just brought up the artist rendering of what an Apple mixed reality headset could look like. Now, everyone is pretty convinced we're going to see this at WWDC, Worldwide Developers Conference, which is around June-ish, July normally. I'm sure the date's out actually, so I can find it. But I read an article 2 days ago saying that we might not see it. It sounds like there's issues again. I don't know if this is the chipset story because of the shortages and so on. I got to be honest, mate. I'm getting really tired of the delays. Like, do you remember that the thinking in life? Just get the product out there. We'll fix it afterwards, but get it out there. Like, it's time. Apple's been talking about this for so long. It's got to
Yeah,
be what, 4 years?
I
That
was gonna say,
five?
I
Like
think
Tim
four
Cook's trying to
years,
say, like,
but
we're going AR, man. Like, this is it. It's the future. We've and let's be honest, right? And you own an iPhone now. If you've got the Pro from Pro 12, I think it was onwards, LiDAR was included. So these guys know how to do AR. I mean, I mapped out a place the other day using the LiDAR on my phone. It was incredible how it built up a whole fully immersive 3D rendering of the space that I wanted to get, as well as measurements and everything. So I don't for a second think Apple doesn't know how to do it. I'm just wondering what's going wrong. Like, even the first iPhone was actually crap. I can't believe it's coming out of my mouth, but it didn't have SMS. And then the second one didn't have MMS. They had to do massive quick software plans to get it working. But they launched the device, and the rest is history. Even if they launch an 85% where they want it to be headset, every single fanboy and girl out there is going to go and buy it. They're going to love it, and they're going to hug it and cuddle it, and then they'll bring the second one out and it'll be perfect. So yeah, uh, I don't know.
It's the other challenge that we face is one that I think just the whole space of XR, extended reality faces, which is there are such limitations on what we can do with the hardware, and we all think that Apple's going to crack this issue, and then everyone's going to jump into mixed reality and be in that world at a $3,000 US price tag,
Yep.
and still delivering, you know even if it's their own operating system, Reality OS, which is probably going to be really good, you're still asking people to drop a lot of cash and to jump
Yeah.
into a user experience, which is still isolating. It's still you in the world and everyone else excluded. And um, as you said, let's face it, where is that killer app? What is that killer use case that demands you to be in there and spending that much money? Having tried, except for the HTC most recent venture, which I believe you've tried and experienced,
I did, and I
that,
was blown away. I must say, I
it's
was really blown away.
that's coming closer to a more wearable and usable like user experience. However, you're still wearing a clunky device on your
Yeah.
face, and
Yeah.
like the Meta Pro, the PSVR 2, they just don't get there.
Well,
The
let's stop
experience
there
is
for a
great.
second. I mean,
Mm.
I don't like Apple bashing. I'm a fanboy, but the 3,000 price tag, it's going to put me off. I'm going to tell you now that I can't believe that their first edition, even if they've taken 5 years to get there, will be worth 3 grand. PS, I haven't looked at or played with or touched because my understanding is it only works on PlayStation. It's ecosystem centric. Meta, which is Oculus, will work across anything. Well, not anything, but it's got um, a lot more different platforms and app stores that it does connect to. I'm not a fan of the Oculus. I find it very clunky. I haven't played with the latest version of it, which I think you have, and you can take us through that. But at the moment, the best headset for me on the market is hands down HTC's new mixed reality headset. It's light, it's comfortable, it's just the fact that you can switch in between AR and VR just like that. You don't have to do anything. It even has built-in lenses, which I'm sure the Oculus does as well, that you can set to your prescription. So
Mhm.
because they've thought about that. Like wearing glasses inside VR doesn't work, but I need them. I can't look at a screen that close. I wouldn't see anything. So that to me was the best. Have you played with both, with a PS and Meta? And is there a preference or?
I have when you and it's arguable what actually is coming out of Epic Games and Unreal Engine, but Unreal Engine 5.2, I think it is, indiscernible from reality. And you look at the renderings, you look at this stuff, it is unbelievable.
Yeah,
That is not being delivered in through the glasses, and whatever it is. Like I was playing a game in PSVR 2, and it was fun and immersive, but it was also somewhat pixelated, and it did not feel like, I guess maybe I'm a bit of a snob, but if I'm going to be paying this much money and being asked to spend this much time in an environment, it better be darn good. Meta Pro, in my opinion, was a bit better. That switch between AR and VR, the rendering that the Meta Pro does is way better than the Quest 2 and the original Quest, but it's still pixelated. It's still kind of hard to look at. And I've heard that the HTC just gets rid of that. And I think that the Apple one is going to nail that. I
Yeah.
think they're going to make that inside out experience indiscernible. I think that they're going to do an incredible job of being able to place objects in your space and interact with them. Um,
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, I know you sit on VR association boards or did sit. We and I've been involved with this journey from day dot. I mean, the days of cardboard and sticking our phones in with elastic bands and go, "Oh, this is cool." Um, I still personally don't know if I would invest in a VR headset or a mixed reality headset yet. Even as good as the HTC Vive was, or is, sorry, not was, it's only just come out. Um, and that takes me to the metaverse, right? Why? Because a lot of people say to me, why do you always bang on the metaverse? Why do you always slam on the metaverse? It's very simple. Content is shit. And not everyone has access to it yet. We don't have $2,000 to spend on a decent headset to get there. And that's my opinion. When the prices have come down, like on the Quest, for example, I think was like $600, but that was only a 128 gig. So that fills up super quickly as well. So then you're going to be spending time removing things that you've actually worked on. Like if you've played in a game and got to a certain level, you've got to delete it to make room to go into the metaverse to go and open someone's door. So I think we've got a ways to go. And I've got a client that I'm consulting to at the moment that wanted to build Web3. And I said, wow, no one is going, no, we're not ready for it. Not yet. 2 years from now, 5 years from now, because you know what's going to happen, right? When Apple finally releases, and you're right, they will get it right from the movement, from the rendering, that will be Apple. That's what Apple does. But at that point, it'll be stripped down in a factory somewhere, replicated, put into an Android ready device at a third of the price. And as good, I mean, the tech's there, right? So they'll strip it down, they'll make it do what it needs to do, sell it for 999, and now we're ready for the metaverse because now the biggest phones in the world, which is Google or Android, sorry, Android platform, with an affordable headset that does everything that it's supposed to do. And this is just a prediction. I mean, that's the nice thing about being a futurist or a predictor, right? We can just go, well, this is what's going to happen. If it doesn't happen, well, it was just a prediction. If it happens, well, look at me. But yeah,
Here's a question for you. So, looking at like 10, 20 years from now, looking back on today,
yeah,
the Apple headset comes out. And if you've got 5 grand sitting around, go pick up, the Apple mixed reality headset. Go pick up that Dyson ANC headphones with the air filter on. I'm sure you've seen that.
I have, but why? Are you saying the world's going to be stuffed in
Um,
5 years' time? I need to air
I,
filter everything.
just, just a photo of someone wearing both of those devices.
I got you. And in the big
Looking back
overhead headset as well. Okay, and the mask.
with the massive,
Yeah,
yeah,
Ready Player One, right? We're walking around in
exactly.
cyborgs. Yeah,
And the question is this is one future that we imagined, and I'm guessing it's not going to be like that. I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, let's just pause for a second, right? Did you ever predict us walking around wearing masks and not being in Hong Kong or Bangkok? I mean, up to the world, right? I mean, I never saw that. I never saw a pandemic coming to the point that you, if you weren't wearing a mask, you were the odd man out, as opposed to, and I mean, I'm not stamming on it, but it is well known. Asians generally will travel the world with a face mask on. They don't want to pick up whatever the local flus or whatever, and that's fine. But everyone in the world was wearing masks. So is Dyson's prediction that far out? Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm just
People are
amazed that you think that in 5 or 10 years from now, Apple will actually release their headset because that's the bigger question.
that's
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Well, let's leave that alone. And the only thing I have to say on Meta is Mark Zuckerberg is about to cut another 4,000 jobs. That's 25,000 jobs in a year.
Eh,
He's just a special person. So moving swiftly along, I'm not giving up on VR, AR, or MR, or hyper reality, anything. It's here. It just needs a bit more work. Now, if you're watching, the guy on the screen that I have at the moment is a guy by the name of Rob Thomas. And Rob Thomas is the chief commercial officer at IBM. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this today, Aryeh, is that you and I covered Watson when it first came out. I mean, I'm going back to like probably show 1 or show 2. It was that long ago that we did together. He's just announced Watson X. And as you would imagine, they're jumping on the AR bandwagon that every other company's jumping on as well. There's just one concern that I have with this. For those of you that don't know what Watson was or is, because the X is just that they're now including AR algorithms and APIs. But just to rewind, right? Watson was a supercomputer in the truest sense of the form. You could buy space on Watson and it would spin up all kinds of weird algorithms and permutations and all these good things, right? You're taking that supercomputing power and now giving it artificial intelligence for anyone to go in there and start working on. Now, Mr. Thomas went on to say, AR may not replace, I'm quoting by the way, AR may not replace managers, but the managers that use AI will replace the managers that do not. I mean, that's basically, I can just see your review sitting in the IBM office. So what did you do with Watson X? Nothing. Great. First door to the left, grab the paper bag, off you go. Next. But if Elon Musk, the was, and other really important people, in fact, the guy that actually built the first neural AI engine, who's just retired a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember his name. These people are all out there calling for a pause and control and everything else in AI. And then you have a company like IBM with all the compute power in the world, arguably the most compute power in the world. And they're going to launch a supercomputer and open it up to everyone that wants to start running artificial intelligent algorithms on it. Scary. Yeah.
You're asking for trouble. I
Of
was
course you
listening to yeah, there's a gentleman, Lex Friedman, has a great podcast, and he had the guy that wrote that letter, and authored it and got everyone to kind of jump on it. And artificial general intelligence is what people are scared of, AGI. And for those that don't know what it means, it's the AI that we have right now can pretty much focus on one model at a time and take in, certain aspects of information. And the idea of training, an algorithm and training an AI in something.
Yep.
With ChatGPT and, all the connectivity that can be done, it's not that we have AGI, but you can have a conversation, and many people have, with ChatGPT, and
Yeah.
it feels like it
I've
makes
done
sense.
that. I've spoken to it. Like there's another version, Nova as well. Same thing. You talk to it like you're chatting.
Yep. We've seen, some of us seen different versions of, deep fake, and not just what's his name? Oh man, the guy eating spaghetti, which is the best video AI.
From The Office, isn't it? No,
No, the African American
Keanu, is
actor.
it?
It's a great one. We'll have to put it. It's fantastic because it's just, eating spaghetti going, oh, and spaghetti's like forming out of his mouth. But there's complete episodes of Joe Rogan interviewing Steve Jobs and Joe Rogan interviewing Sam Altman from OpenAI, which are completely fabricated. And if you don't know and you're just listening, you click a link and you're over here and you hear some information. ChatGPT is not making things up. It's assimilating based on what it learns from the internet. And Twitter got shut down. They had that bot that went anti-Semitic and hate in 24 hours. I don't know if you remember that. Or it was like
Yeah.
Twitter, and then Microsoft had one, and Facebook had those bots that created on language to communicate with each other. Like, we don't have answers for what's going on here. And we just started like, whoa, let's let it go. Let's just everyone using it and training it and teaching it. And yeah, there are humans doing work behind the scenes to manage what's going on. But the world doesn't know. Like we just don't know. And most of us out there that aren't like you and I and geeked out and paying attention, you know, stumbling upon ChatGPT for the first time and asking a question and getting, a very detailed answer back, and not knowing that that could be real or fabricated. Danger, danger.
I just have to apologize if there's a sound in the background. It sounds like there's machinery outside. I don't know if it's coming through. I've tried to put on my mic isolation, but I can hear it. Um, yeah, no, look, I mean, I've done a few shows on ChatGPT, and it's scary as, but I just felt that with Watson X being launched, that we could be in for a world of pain. I'm conscious of time, so I wanted to make sure we don't run out of time because we can go down multiple rabbit holes. I just have to put this out there, though. Rob Thomas, the lead singer of Matchbox 20, and I've put a big picture of him up there, and then I put a smaller picture of Rob Thomas, the chief commercial officer of IBM. They look pretty damn similar, mate. I'm like, because I haven't had a new
Yep.
Matchbox 20 album in years. Like, maybe he was a really brilliant geek that gave up singing and went off. But if you're looking at the show, anyway, that was just me being me, back to the cool AI
Yeah.
stuff. In fact, speaking of cool AI stuff, and again, I don't want to run out of time. Um, for those that know you already, then I think I've had a little script going on the bottom, and I can put it back up. Your company that you work for, Kudo, you've got an AI announcement as well, right?
We do. We do. In the small world of multilingual communication, extremely briefly, what we do is we allow people to join on any platform. Could be where we are right now, or Zoom, or Teams, or Kudo. We bring in interpreters so that people can speak different languages in real time and have a multilingual conversation. So I could be speaking English, Brett could be speaking Afrikaans. I would hear him speaking English, and he would hear me speaking Afrikaans. We could bring in some Chinese, Spanish, Japanese, and Uruguayan speakers, which would be Uruguayan Spanish, and everyone would hear their own language. And so that's not new. What is new is that Kudo launched an AI capability in January, where it's really a one-to-many capability. It's using the language models of Azure for Microsoft, as well as some others in the background as the base, and then some proprietary algorithms that allow for a predictive understanding of what someone's going to say. And so it does deliver an AI-powered simultaneous interpretation from English or other source languages into now over 20 languages. So
Wow.
um,
Okay.
and I think the announcement is for the listeners of the technology show, and anyone else out there. There's a free trial going, so you can get up to 10 meetings in 6 hours of free experience. Sign up, see what it goes.
Do they go to kudoa.com? Because I think that's what I've got scrolling on the screen at the moment, or is it a different URL?
No, that's it. Kudoaway.com, and it's one of those ones where if you've never had it, or if you got family living in Europe or something, and you just want to say, hey, let's try this out, give them a call on Kudo and say, hey, let's turn on French or Spanish, and let's see what happens. And it's a very different experience. The AI, for better or worse, today is still one directional. Um,
Yeah.
the development of being able to have multiple languages speaking at the same time is coming up. Uh, when you use ChatGPT or Google Translate or any of these machine-powered tools, it's input and output, and so you make a query and then it spits out the response. And what we're doing is cutting that off and having that predictive level, but there's still a slight delay. And so a two-way conversation like we're having right now, if I was making a presentation and it was long, perfect.
Yeah.
But that back and forth gets a little bit hard to follow. But it's still, it's the most advanced that's out there, and
Okay.
it's free. So give it a shot.
Well, there we go. You had me at free, right? I mean, that's what isn't that the famous saying? You had me at free. Okay. And I don't think there's much else that I've got on tech news stuff today. Oh yeah, okay, I do. So today
Oh,
or tomorrow, if you're in Australia, is Google I/O. So I think it's 10 o'clock Pacific time. So that's what, 1 Eastern time. And that means it's like ungodly for us. It's like 3 in the morning or something stupid our time tomorrow. But for anyone that's involved in tech, and I have said this on a few shows, and Alex, even when he's come on the show before, if you're interested in tech, you can't afford to miss any of these. The big Apple announcements, the Google I/O announcements, these type of keynotes really share some cool, interesting stuff. I'm actually under a media embargo. I got to see some of the stuff that's going to be shown today. My media embargo ends at 4:59 a.m. tomorrow morning, as it so happens. I will not be awake to be breaking the news. In fact, if anyone was awake before me, they can watch it for themselves. But I think there's going to be some very cool stuff being shown. I'm just going to say stuff, whether it's hardware, software, whatever is irrelevant. Um, what is interesting though is that Google is really late to the party on the AI space. I mean, their Bard was a little bit of a failure. They had that live demo that cost them, I think, like $1 billion or something on their stock price.
Not good.
More, yeah. So, but they owned it though. That's the difference. So the CEO jumped up. He said, "We made a mistake. It's happened. They've parked it and they're working on the engines." But I do believe that this IO will be worth watching. There's going to be some exciting stuff announced. So yeah, that will take us to the end of tech news with a Z. Right.
Can,
Are you
can,
game? Yes.
I
Sorry.
gotta ask you just on that IO logo. I mean, did they call up some '70s designer to get a spewing the
I
IO like
don't even know what that is.
barfing a rainbow or what's going on?
It looks like a Mr.
Yeah.
Peanut. You know the Mr. Peanut with the monocle? Like
Yep.
the like if he was on a trip, right? That's what he'd be. I don't know. It must mean something. Like it has to, maybe. Don't know.
There will be a story behind it, but like
Sure.
many things at
I'd have to
Google,
Google it, or
it may
maybe
be
they'll
only
even
them
tell
that
you it
understand it.
on the announcement. But I did find that one quite different because in the past it's always been like icons and images that make up the either the word Google or the IO. But in always as fashion, it's always be ahead of Apple's event. It's a different world, different market, and it's definitely more about the developers as well and the tech that they're going to get access to use. Uh, I'm don't remember hearing this under embargo, so I hope I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm pretty sure that we'll see the new version of Android because it's normally every year that they release one.
Yeah.
I won't say any more on that, but generally, I must say the last 3 or 4 years of Android have been really good. There's been some amazing stuff that's come out in Android. So, yeah, if you're into it, that's definitely something worth watching. Are you game? There's no real news. I've just got my Counter Strike stream back up. This was a screen that I actually had from last week or the week before, whatever the show was when this was just immersed. But I went down to DreamHack last week. It was so good to see that it's actually grown. It was like 30,000 instead of 22,000 the year before. 6 months before, actually, we changed the dates. But I did get to play the new Counter Strike Go 2. So for the purists out there, nothing has changed. The maps are the same. The gameplay is the same. They haven't gone and made any stupid mistakes and broken the game. It's just the graphics. The graphic engine has been updated. Like the smoke grenades, the way they filter through the walls, the benches. It's just they've just taken advantage of 10 years of growth and technology growth and just made it super, super awesome. So that's all I have on Are You Game. I have got a question. This is actually a great question. So, Ari, I know you've got an iPhone, but I don't know if you have Apple Arcade. But someone asked the question is what is the plus versions on Apple Arcade? So if you have got Apple Arcade and you see a game that says like Monument Valley Plus or Limbo Plus or whatever. So first of all, Apple Arcade only works on Apple or Apple products. You can play it on your Apple TV, the latest version. You can play it on an iPad, an iPhone, etc., Mac. No, I don't know if I've actually played on my Mac. But anyway, I'm sure it plays on the Mac. They've been taking a lot of flack lately, like that they haven't released enough indie games or they're just kind of rebadging games and so on. So to answer that, they actually released 20 new games this week into the Apple Arcade library. Some of them are indies. They're unique. There was a new sim. I'm not into sim. I haven't got time to build fake worlds. But some
Yeah.
people like it, right? There's a place for it. So they've built their own new sim. But the question about the plus, so what the plus is it's in a game that already exists inside the App Store that was either free with adverts or it was paid with no adverts and all different levels in that. So the plus means it's that game, so you can already go and get it without Apple. I'm sorry, without Apple Arcade, but it's now free as part of your subscription to Apple Arcade. So that should answer the question, hopefully. And yeah, so 20 new games. I think there's 100 and something games in total. There's some good games there. I've actually reviewed some of their games as my game of the week, like under the Are You Game section. I'm going to bring us back to that mode there because we're going to get to, well, we at the end of the show because that's what happens. Dude, so good to have you back in the chair. I missed it, man. We have to make this more regular. So reach out and say, hey, I have another headset, or it doesn't only have to be a headset. You can just come and hang and chat and talk shit with me for an hour.
I love
But
it.
yeah, so cutoway.com. If you want to, I've got people walking around in my background in my studio. That's pretty cool. So yeah, it's everything goes. Well, at least you know the show's live, right? So cutaway.com, go and try the new Cutaway AR for free. That's pretty much it. So that's it. Time to say goodbye.
Thank you. It's been wonderful. And
Cool,
I will
man.
be back. I'll be
Good.
back.
Yes, you will. I'll be back. Well, on that note, till next time, keep your screens clean and your knobs shiny.